Before we start, just a quick request for all of you kind enough to listen to our podcast. We really appreciate it. We are grateful for every listener, and we are aware that some of you are listening via Spotify. We would like to remove our podcast from this platform, as the CEO of this organisation, Daniel Ek, has a less than salubrious history of underpaying musicians for their art, and has of late made questionable investments with the money he has made through Spotify. Two glaring examples are the €600,000 investment in Helsing, which is an AI weapons company, and the $150,000 paid to Trump's inauguration bash. We don't want to just pull a podcast from Spotify immediately and stop you listening to us, but we would kindly ask you to find alternative platforms to find us, be it a podcatcher app, YouTube, or just going direct to our source hosting site, given in the show notes. We will no longer be available on Spotify from the end of May. Thank you again for your support, but please don't use Spotify, as even the free version uses ad revenue to pay for evil shit perpetrated with their profits, and very little goes towards the artists you listen to. Satan does not like AI, weaponry, or Trump, and likes musicians to be paid a fair rate.
Hell is empty, and all the devils are here.
Welcome to another bonus edition of the Devil's Library. I'm Leraje, hail Satan. With me tonight I've got Ligeia.
Hail Satan.
And returning for this Ligotti-themed episode, Chris from Buzzard. All right, how you doing?
Great. Howdy, Satan. Making a folky. Doom folky.
Folky Satan. There we go.
That's good.
And we are going to be doing 3 more short stories from that harbinger of happiness, Thomas Ligotti. But this time, we've tried... Is that not good? Harbinger of happiness.
It's correct.
This time, instead of choosing 3 completely random stories, we've chosen 3 from a particular trilogy within Songs of a Dead Dreamer. The trilogy is called, somebody help me?
Nyctalops Trilogy.
That's right, the Nyctalops Trilogy.
The Nyctalops Trilogy.
Yeah.
Bum.
So the 3 stories are The Chymist, Drink to Me Only with Labyrinthine Eyes, and Eyes of the Lynx. We'll start off with The Chymist, spelt with a Y. The Chymist, The Chymist. So, basic story of this short story is Simon is at a bar when he solicits Rosemary, a sex worker. Simon is a chemist and carries with him a briefcase that Rosemary convinces herself is full of killer dope. They go back to her place and she finds out she wasn't wrong. That's the basic of the basis of the story. What did we think of this one? For me, never having read much Ligotti before these stories, this one was a bit of a departure and set the tone for the other 2.
Yeah.
Apparently, this was his first professionally published story.
Really?
Yes, his breakthrough in 1981, and it was published in the Lovecraft zine Nyctalops.
Yes.
So,
Right.
which we'll get to the themes later, I think, after we do the 3 stories, but that starts to get us clued into the Nyctalops angle.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You can see the skeleton of his later short story writing career just in this short story. There's the kind of the theme, like we talked about last time you were on, Chris, those themes of stinky rot and decay. And there's at one point Simon says, "This whole city is most certainly a pitiful corpse, while the neighbourhood outside the walls of this bar has the distinction of being the withering heart of the deceased, and I am a devoted student of its anatomy, a pathologist after a fashion, with an eye for necrosis that others overlook." I mean, that's just pure Ligotti, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because it's a recognizable trope. I kind of like when we talked about the Frolic before. It's a serial killer from his monologue from a deranged killer who he's not, maybe he has supernatural powers. Definitely Eyes of the Lynx does. but which in a way is like you're inhabiting the John Doe serial killer from Frolic, from that persona's point of view, this demonic supernatural entity who's a serial killer. But yeah, a monologue from his point of view, and you immediately know this is not going to end well. Like as you say,
No,
just the
Rosemary.
patronizing tone, the patronizing tone of it.
The calmness of the person, the narrator, is just so terrifying to me.
Mm.
And in the whole story, she didn't say a word.
No, it's a very unique method of narration. It's kind of like you hear it's him having a conversation with other people, but you never hear them. Which again speaks to the character's kind of like ego, I think, and his kind of like arrogance.
Yeah, and that like the theme of this and Eyes of the Lynx is the killer who absorbs his victims. Like the identity becomes dissolved and decayed, which is the fate of Rose. She becomes his dream, and from the very beginning,
Rosebud.
Yeah.
At some point, he kept like playing with her name.
Yeah, like let me tell you, Sub Rosa.
Oh yes, Rosa,
Wow,
Rosemary, Mary Rose. I'm like,
and the last line, now rub Rose bloom.
Yes,
into your
Because decay has its own bloom.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so we can sense the theme of domination. In this story, it was mostly like the body concern, I think.
Utter negation of her identity from the beginning. Yeah.
But I don't know why it was not his most terrifying piece, but because she didn't speak, I was just like, no. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe because I'm a woman. I couldn't tell if she's already drugged. Like at what point was she feeling uneasy and he was just talking like she's talking back and she wasn't able to. I don't know. It was just so bad.
Yeah. I mean, she has a job that is kind of like puts her at a high level of risk from men anyway. So, I mean, this...
When are you not at risk? Where, like, I just take a walk and it's just.
But because he has this borderline supernatural power, and like the Eyes of the Lynx serial killer definitely does, you sense he has this seduction power. Like you said, the domination, but his force of personality, his disdainful, condescending tone that completely, again, absorbs her identity, just like the Eyes of the Lynx killer literally absorbs his victims. I know, like in a lot of horror stories, you're screaming at the future victim, like, "Can't you see the signs? Like, get out of there!" Right?
Leave,
but here you're almost swept up by his narration because we only get his point of view, his facility with language. He sings a seductive song. Like he's got the briefcase, which is this totem of power and respectability, which she's attracted to. It's like, this guy must be safe. He has the symbols of a safe guy.
Respectability.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's got
and the
veneer.
confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, this idea of him, of possibly being a supernatural. So the character Simon explains that when he was, does he say a sophomore in college or a freshman? I can't remember what he said.
Yeah, he got a BS. You're right.
Yeah, at age 12.
He got a college degree at age 12. Like, so he's got a genius, right? Yes.
But he described an instance when the chemistry of his brain or his mind changed. And he said it was scary at first and then became better. And he introduces this idea of the grand chemists, who are these kind of like faceless entities. It's very ambiguous. Is this idea of his brain chemistry changing when he was young? Is that an instance of mental illness? Or is that him becoming literally possessed by actual great chemists? It's very ambiguous. This could be a madman killer, or it could be a supernaturally possessed killer. Either is a viable alternative.
Supernatural psychopath.
Yeah.
Or somehow magical.
Both, yeah.
Well, you said it's a little bit ambiguous, but the spelling itself, chemist, is an archaic spelling of chemist, which refers to the bridge, like an alchemist, and which is the bridge to modern chemistry. So just the spelling speaks to that moment of transformation from magic to science. So he's half science, half magic.
I did not realize that. That's such a good point. I like that.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap that one up. What you didn't hear is that we had some kind of Zencaster-based timeout. We didn't listen to the audio, as you know, because you just listened to it. But yeah, something happened. Anyway, so I think we just about talked that particular story to death as a single story anyway. So, Ligeia.
Yeah, so the second story is called Drink to Me Only with Labyrinthine Eyes. If I'm not saying it right, who cares? This story was, I will try to be short. There is a wealthy audience of people, and there is a hypnotist, and everybody in this room is hypnotized, we learn. So, in the biggest moment of this evening or this event or whatever this is, there is this absolutely gorgeous, angelic woman creature, and the hypnotist is like performing theatrical magic whatever tricks with her, which are sort of like, some of them are just like haha funny or interesting, some of them are quite violent, and the audience reacts to this. And like the climax of the evening is when he makes them see this beautiful woman as actually becoming an angel or something supernatural, something that is absolutely out of this world. And like the story actually just like describes how everybody is absolutely, I don't know what the word is, in trance, and they want to be close to her. They are admiring her, and she doesn't really react. She's like just graceful and, you know, moving around and cloppy clop with her heels. You know, and like everybody's looking at her and they want to dance with her, and just she's like there, you know. It was, to me, that part was just so incredibly funny. But the ending of the story is one of the most, like, I would say like simple. This story is quite simple, I think. I don't know why I chose it, but it says a lot, you know. So it ends with him like sneaking out of the house. The hypnosis is still on everybody sees that, and he leaves, and then he rings a bell, which is supposed to, and it does, ends this spell. And we learn that the woman actually is not this angelic creature. She's a corpse, rotting, awful, stinky corpse of a person. And these people were just made to believe, or they wanted to be made to believe.
Yeah.
So this is how I understood, like, maybe we are just willing to not see the rot in.
Yeah.
When we decide to see the beauty, it's the beauty. So what did you think about this story?
It's like you say, it was quite a kind of like, it was a pretty, by Ligotti standards, it was a pretty straightforward story. But again, there is the themes, just like in the Chymist theme, you know, there's a man controlling a woman against her will.
Yeah.
It just so happens in this case she's dead.
Yeah.
But, you know, this...
Right. And her
it's like,
identity is already erased.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Convenient,
Yeah.
right.
And it's kind of like there's this very disquieting tone that he uses. I mean, it's just contempt for everything. It just rolls off everything that he says and everything that he does. It's kind of like...
Yes.
The only person in that whole story that he actually shows some kind of like respect for is a small child.
Yeah.
Who he is at pains to tell us that children are less easy to hypnotize than adults.
Yeah. Because he's there and he's like asking the little boy, like, do you like her? And he's like, she's quite, what did he say?
Yucky.
Yucky?
She's yucky.
She's like, yucky.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah.
It's a disturbing story rather than a horrifying one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's simple to like really quickly read through. It's not like some of the Ligotti stories, like Chris, you will have the one of them. I think this was just like a classical Gothic, atmospheric short story about, again, domination, but maybe a domination or how the mind can be, what is it, like programmable?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Easily just not existent.
Yeah.
Not there.
It's like you said a few minutes ago, Ligeia, though, you do wonder how much of it is them being, the audience, that is, being controlled versus them wanting to be controlled.
I
that kind
think
of like desire to see beauty in something that isn't necessarily there.
Yeah. It takes two to tango.
Exactly.
For the hypnosis to work. Sure.
I've never tried. I don't know if I believe in it, but how difficult it must be to hypnotize like a room full of people for such a long time, like, come on. I don't know.
Yeah, and in that sense it's not a supernatural story, but on the other hand he's quite clearly a necromancer because he's managed to raise the dead. Literally.
Is that reanimate? Well, like you're saying about him having contempt for the audience, I think it's true of all these stories. Ligotti's not concerned about the motivations of a serial killer. Like most horror stories dive into the psychology of it. That's not his concern here, is why. Just because they're malevolent, demonic beings. And just because the nature of the universe is to produce these demonic entities that want to destroy you.
The pessimism. It's already here. Like, if you can be bad, you will be bad.
And like you say, it's kind of straightforward in the sense that it has a punchline. Like there's a reveal at the end. Like it was a corpse all along.
Oh,
and that was That's it's a powerful story in that sense. And
it's a story that I mean, most of the time when it got you, like you say, Chris, I mean, people's his protagonists and his antagonists have very clear motivations in that they just don't give a shit. They're just they're just being evil for the sake of being evil. But you kind of like wonder all the way through this story. I'm thinking to myself that it's kind of like who's the target here? Is it everybody? Is it both the woman that he's raised from the dead and the audience, or is it the audience? Because it's kind of like it's presented like this kind of like huge practical joke.
Right. It's a proud thing, like a prank.
Yeah, because he's not actually getting anything out of it. He's not trying to rob these people or anything like that. It's
like Ligeia's Virgin if you've been punked. Gotcha.
Yeah. I think it's a mockery of this society or this group of people. And he's saying a lot.
It's a good story. I did enjoy it. But in a way, it was kind of like it's the one that left me the most uneasy, and I don't really know why.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just sort of like, God, I mean, it's Ligotti, so they're all pretty sort of like, oh, God, that's not great. But this one was, I don't know why. It's the most straightforward, and yet for me, it's the most unsettling one. It's like that one we read a while ago, Ligeia, that one about the guy who lived in the room and he went out for a meal in that bar/pub, whatever it was. And you never quite, it was a doctor, somebody, and you weren't quite sure.
The artist. He was sketching.
Yeah.
Like that one.
Yeah, and it's such a kind of like random, why that story in particular affected me so much, I don't know. And I don't know why this one did, but it really did.
Mm-hmm. I think it's very Poe-esque. I know a lot of people compare Ligotti to Poe, but it smacks of the Mask of Red Death in the sense that there's this frivolous party with the 1% that are blind to the decaying reality around them. That they're actually all have crushes on a corpse.
Yeah,
and her glamour. Glamour has always been an interesting word for me. She's glamorous, right? And glamour comes from the Middle Ages. It was like a magical spell, right? Mm-hmm. And so she's glamorous. She's casting a spell, or he's casting a spell through her. And they're attracted to her glamour in a superficial sense. Yeah. They don't respond to him elevating her as an angel or something celestial. But they think she's a celebrity,
Yeah.
she's beautiful.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's almost like a prank. And maybe that's part of what's disturbing about it. He takes this glee. And what's his end game?
Yeah.
He says at one point, he just wanted them all to touch her. His end game was to have basically have the 1% all kiss, dance, and
this is the ending of the story. Like now they all have that like dirt and the stinky
the goo. He says goo, right?
On them, on their clothes, on their fingers, and like now they will see and have a look. Like what? But also, what was interesting that the audience reacted mostly to the violent part of the event, like when she was folded into a little box and he was, what was he doing to her, poking her and
break her apart,
put her in a box, like
like, what are you doing? Hi, girl.
I mean, is this Thomas Ligotti exercising class warfare?
It is a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. It's got that P.T. Barnum thing too. Like, you say you want violence, I'll show you violence. But what the audience wanted to see was the thrill of narrowly escaping it and possibly seeing carnage. But in the end, he's showing them the reality. And at the end, I love his choice for the last word. The word in the story is like, "You'll be amazed." Yeah. I think all of these stories have a mic drop at the end. Like that was a nice.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
With this one, I absolutely knew where it's gonna end, so it was predictable, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The first one and the last one,
they're more surreal and they're more they're slipperier.
Yeah.
Speaking of goo.
Okay, so let's talk about Eyes of the Lynx then, Chris. Tell us about Eyes of the Lynx.
Well, the capsule review, the summary, right? So there's a supernatural serial killer who targets goth girls. And so he goes to a brothel, like a BSDM brothel. He enlists the services of the hostess. Immediately, apparently had her targeted from before, but he's left the body count of goth girls. He takes a tour and can view the transgressions and all the depravity, but he views it with a certain boredom and detachment because he's demonic. He's seen it all and done it all. This is nothing. Yeah. And once his role play with the hostess commences, they enter a room. He basically, the punchline here, and it's quite a literal body horror image. He reveals his demonic powers by unzipping his body to absorb her into his, among all the other victims, which are incarcerated in a very literal fashion. Yeah. It's not like in the Chymist where she's dissolving into his dream, and it's suggested that the next day the police are going to find a mutilated, dissolved corpse. Yeah. But here, to the point where I think this is wonderfully kind of comic image, is after he's absorbed her into his body, zipped him up, she tries to escape and her arm shoots out at a perpendicular angle, and a homeless guy comes up and shakes her hand. Yes. I mean, that belongs in a Cronenberg or Lynch film. Like that image.
Yes.
It does. Again, it's another odd one, really. But I can't imagine another author who could write something like that story and it be quite as authentic as it. Because I think in lesser hands, it could turn into total comedy all the way through and not be disturbing at all. Mm-hmm. And it is disturbing, but he does play with the comedy aspect of it, but it never kind of like becomes the focus of the story.
He's always adjusting the amount of surrealism, because there's some parts are quite like disorienting. Like when he enters that role play where she's the wicked witch and he's the puppet, he starts writing it in the third person, as if he's witnessing it. And it's a very blurred line between him reporting his experiences as the willing participant in his S&M domination fantasy, but him also describing it in the third person. And then when he finally reveals his knowledge of her interior mind, because he's been able to read her dreams. And then she fucking pulls down her hood and said, I'm going to call security and get you out of here. All of a sudden it gets real. Like, actually, this is happening in the real world.
Yeah.
And there's also moments when he's touring around the brothel and he can see through doors. He can see all the scenarios, and they're described in that, this verse that right on the edge of somewhat surrealistic but grounded, like this is a thing that's actually happening, but he's describing it in these kind of fantastical terms. Very, very descriptive.
So that's the 3 stories taken individually. I mean, he put them together as a trilogy, and it's not hard to sort of like detect the commonality between the 3 of them. And they all touch on these themes of misogyny and control and rot and decay as a kind of like internal personal thing, as opposed to in other stories of his, it's been about the landscape that might be rotting or decaying, or the environment. But in this, it's kind of like the internal process. It feels like an internal process to these people.
And 3 types of control.
Yeah.
So I was saying, like, control of the body, then the perception, and then the entire consciousness or reality. So it was actually, this is why I suggested to take this as a one unit, this trilogy, because I think it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And the idea of vision and darkness,
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Nyctalops.
Yeah, Nyctalops, night blindness. Though the Clark Ashton Smith poem, Nyctalops, is about what you see in the darkness. And it's kind of a description and a list of all of these mythical, fantastical, and horrific creatures that lurk in the darkness. And these stories are all about 3 different creatures that lurk in the night to absorb you.
Yeah.
I want to say one other thing, because I was starting to think about the Lynx, because Lynx is, they're very symbolic creature of keen sight. And I started thinking about that with the idea of night blindness. And, the Lynx is often a symbol of clairvoyance, supernatural clairvoyance, because the real Lynx has extremely keen vision as a hunter. And these villains are all hunters in a sense. And I also did a little dive into the etymology. I didn't realize it. So there's the Greek figure Lynceus is where lynx comes from, and the idea of being lynx-eyed and having the ability to see in the dark. So he was a Greek mythological figure who could see in the dark. And also something else I didn't know is that the Lynx constellation is aptly called that because it's so hard to see. Like the stars are so distant that only a lynx could see them.
Wow.
That's good. I mean, on that note about entomology of things, the first story, the one I read was the one I proposed. It's spelt Chymist, so Chymist, which is, like we said earlier, is an obsolete version of the word chemist. But Chymist, I did wonder, because the story is about the bodies that change in a way. And I wondered if that chimera, that kind of, if he deliberately chose the word chymist rather than chemist to sort of like suggest that link. I don't know. Maybe that's putting a bit too much on the simple word, but I did wonder.
I wouldn't put it past him, especially because that story in particular has so many puns in it. Like we were saying before, he's always punning on Rose, and like she says bullshit, and then he said BS, and then refers to the BS that he got as in a college degree. There's so much wordplay in that story in particular. I wouldn't be surprised if that was front of mind.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the Labyrinthine Eyes as well. I don't know if you guys have your connections, like why would that make sense? But then I was thinking maybe it's how in the all these stories he's using certain spaces that are like a labyrinth, like a maze of not just the rooms but the consciousness and the chain house, or what was it called?
The house of chain. That's a great point. Yeah, it's very much like a maze. Yeah.
So that was confusing. There was up and down and stairwell and I don't know what. So And even in the story, that my story, he was going through the house and he was looking for the like a secret or whatever exit. Or is there anything else about the Labyrinthine Eyes?
Yeah.
Is that something you use in English?
Not really like that. I'm not in that poetical, but I think, I think you're right in the way that you suggested it. I mean, another way to look at it was, there was a multitude of people that he'd hypnotized in that story.
Yeah.
And sort of like a labyrinth of different possibilities of each of these people in that crowd seeing that the dead girl, who is never named, by the way, throughout the whole story, all of them might have seen her in a slightly different way. So there's possibly a labyrinth.
Oh, that's interesting.
Of ways of viewing that girl. I mean, it's a possibility.
Oh, that's interesting, right?
But there's such an. I think I know I said that one story was disquieting to me, that the middle one, but I think these three taken together. I'm so glad you suggested it, Ligeia, that we did it like this way as a set of a trilogy.
Yeah.
Because I think what we did before is fine, taking random stories. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. But doing this has heightened the impact of all of them, I think.
Yeah.
Because they're all good individual stories, but taken together as that trilogy, it does elevate them. It makes sense.
It's Ligotti. I just thought, because maybe we should have been doing it like this the whole time.
Maybe we should, yeah.
They are in groups for a reason, and we are like,
yeah.
I was choosing like.
Yeah. I think that was me because I was completely ignorant of the whole thing. I didn't really pay attention.
No, it's good. But with this one, I don't know why. I was like, because I had a look in the like what that word means, Nyctalops, and I'm thinking maybe this would make sense, and it's three of us tonight, so
yeah. But this like mirrors the organic way we discover authors. We discover stories in isolation, and then at some point we tackle a group, whether it's a collection of stories and we see them as a piece, or we do what we did tonight and take loosely connected stories in a trilogy. And see them as a whole, and they have a certain cumulative effect without having an explicit shared world or through line, but for sure. And I think these three kind of have a punchline too. So it's like, boom, she takes a drug dissolved into his dreams. Boom, she was a corpse all along. And at the end, unzip my body. And which is super creepy. And they all have this erotic tone, and there's a theme of misogyny and violence against women, which is not a common concern for him, but they're more a means to the end of exploring these themes of domination and cosmic decay.
Yeah,
I mean, the decay is present in each of those stories as well. There's the decay. That quote I gave earlier in The Chymist about the decay of the city, and how Simon liked to sort of like, he really appreciated the changes that decay brings on. And then, of course, in the second story, she's fucking dead. So, she's literally decaying.
Yeah.
And then in the third story is that there's the kind of, I don't know, the decay in that one seemed to be more about the loss, the decay of that, of the girl's autonomy through that, the sort of like invasion of her mind, of her dreams. That seemed to be more the decay of that.
Yeah, and the dissolution and depravity that he feasts on, and then digests, as we learn at the end.
Yeah, he literally eats her in a way.
Yeah. Though he doesn't use a digestive analogy, they melt like icicles or something, like they melt into him. And then come next season, he needs to replenish. So, what the fuck is this thing?
Well, I had to read it. The last few paragraphs I had to reread. I'm like, hi. Wow, where are the zip now? Like, what are we zipping? We are which room? And then they're like, okay, people doing things. I'm like enjoying it. Pictures going on in my head, and I'm like, zip.
Yeah.
Okay, that's new. Listening, but it was not pleasant.
But that in itself, the act of unzipping, that's a very male thing.
Well, exactly.
I thought so.
It wasn't until I think the second or third reading that I saw at the beginning. It's like the second page. It was like he wanted to consume her right there, and he says something.
Yes.
Like, I wanted to unzip right then, and of course, you're
Like
thinking one
I
thing.
could have. He said that, like, I could have. I
Right.
had to go back to that, like,
Yeah.
what are
right.
you thinking? Like
Yeah.
I could have, but I
Yeah.
wanted to have some fun. Like,
Right. But
let's
then you
play
realize,
this game.
yeah.
Like, you fuck.
But then you realize it's not what you thought it was. It wasn't that kind of zipping.
No.
You know, he's actually,
Yeah.
his body is some kind
Yeah.
of interdimensional.
Yeah, he wouldn't do the small zipping like normal people. He would
No.
wait for the big zip.
Yeah, his entire
Like, it started here.
down his rib cage.
Neck to scrotum.
You
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
Ooh, like, climb in.
In that third story, I might have imagined this, but doesn't he talk about the labyrinthine chambers of his heart at one point?
Yeah, there's
Yes.
a few echoes. Yeah, you're right.
Mm.
Yeah, he likes
I'd
that.
really recommend experiencing these stories. I don't know if you folks are familiar with the Penguin audiobook version read by John Paget. John
No.
Paget, who's another weird fiction author who's written some real classics, and also a friend and associate of Ligotti. And he read the audiobook through Penguin for this edition. And I listened to them in preparation for this. And nobody knows Ligotti like Paget does. And he reads them and renders them to perfection, both dramatically, but also in a deeper understanding of what
Like,
they're
you can
about.
tell he understands what.
Yeah.
Mm.
So he
Oh.
nails, for example, in The Chymist, he really nails that voice,
Oh.
that self-arrogant, patronizing,
Yeah.
contemptuous, and relishes the wordplay. But when it comes time to get deeper, he can really pull out the thespian stops and make the drama work when he hits the punchline, like bloom at the end, or you'll be amazed.
Bloom.
Yeah, rose, my rose, bloom. He also runs Grimscribe Press, Grimscribe, named after Ligotti.
Oh.
Publishes a lot of great weird fiction and horror authors. I pretty much buy everything they put out, including a literary journal called The Vastarian, which he put
Right.
out for a few years. Another Ligotti reference. He also does the readings of Ligotti stories for Cadaver Records for that vinyl spoken word label.
Oh, okay.
They're phenomenal.
Okay. I think we're just about talked out then on these three stories.
Is that a dare? Because we could, I could probably go all night, but
It's a labyrinth. We can go forever.
It's Memorial Day weekend. Yes, I could go do a 3-day bender. Let's just do all the
day
all the
per
Doom
story.
fiction.
Yeah. A weekend recording. Like,
Jesus
we should
Christ.
just meet and
How
do just
How to
we
lose
go.
listeners in one easy go. Do a whole day.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's great.
Right. Okay. So that was the Nyctalops. Am I saying that right? Nyctalops.
Yeah.
That
think
was
so.
the Nyctalops trilogy from Songs of a Dead Dreamer by Thomas Ligotti. We will be back with some more Ligotti at some point, I suspect, because
There's
we
still a
fucking
lot.
love it. Then there's still loads
So
to
much
go.
more.
So much.
So
much more.
so much more.
And more.
So much more.
Okay, I've been Ligeia. Fucking hell. I'm going to try that one again. So yeah, I'm assuming your identity. I've become a Ligosian.
You're absorbing her
I
already.
unzipped.
You're becoming a Ligotti anti-hero right now.
Oh God.
Sorry, Laraje.
Sorry.
You're free again.
I'll try again. I've been Leraje, Hail Satan. Chris, thank you for coming on.
Anytime.
And Ligeia.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.